Hey, you are an amazing, beautiful, powerful, awesome training tribe peep. Thank you for being with me today, and I want to go over in this edition the training for the week of October 12th, and that will be our third week in October. So October is the second month of our 3-month endurance block, and we're doing a 5-week month in October. Okay, first of all, with the workouts that we've been doing so far, I'm hoping that everyone is having some fun and really starting to see your conditioning and your fitness and your athleticism be challenged in some areas, but also start to improve and increase. You'll probably find, as I always do when I go through these things, I've got things to work on, and that's good. It's good to know where you want to put your emphasis. So for our wows, or our workouts of the week, we've got the A1, changing that up slightly this month. So in the A1, you're now going to warm up with a 10-minute jog at level 1 intensity. So level 1 is our easy intensity, as you know, and that's in the recovery or aerobic zone of work. Then with the main set, we're going to shift that around and do 1 times 30 minutes at level 2. So this is basically a tempo effort for an entire 30 minutes. And that's a fairly big challenge. I might suggest that you go on the light side or low side of your tempo effort or heart rate or pace if you know that. Then, once you've recovered, hydrate and walk a bit, you've got 100 walking lunges. And just to clarify from a few comments I got last week, that's 100 total. And so each time your foot hits the ground, it counts, and you end up getting essentially 50 lunges on each leg as you alternate or walk along. Not much else to say about workout A1, but this is a really classic, pure tempo effort. And what you're really looking for is that moderately challenging, steady effort, which many experts call comfortably hard. So that's A1. Excuse me. Now for A2, we're going to make a few changes there, but we're not going to do that in the warm-up. Warm-up is going to stay exactly the same. So you've got your 5-minute level 1 jog, your 2 times 15 yards of drills, that's the A skip and the B skip, and then 2 times the 75-yard strides. And so that's nice to have this system where you can feel yourself limbering up and revving up to run, and I'm hoping that that's the response that you're getting. Now, we're going to move up in our hill reps or our interval training to 8 repetitions. So that's 8 times 30 seconds on whatever hill you have available, as long as it's not exceedingly steep. And you're going to do that at about 5K effort, which is kind of that lower end of level 3 or hard output. Take about 90-second walk rests, walking back down the hill. However, this is the flexible part. It doesn't matter if your walk down takes 75 seconds or it takes several minutes. All we're really caring about is the quality output on those 30 seconds on the way up. In fact, one of my suggestions with repetition training, excuse me, is to make the work bout or the rep, the 30 seconds up, the thing you're really focusing on, and then the rest period, the break or the interval, is flexible as opposed to fixed. So as you start to get tired or you feel some fatigue coming into your system, simply rest a bit longer so that you can get your quality output in the uphill reps. So that's my tip there. We're going to continue to work on that leg drive, and again, just good power, cycling and switching of the arms and the legs, and a strong push-off against gravity. Okay, with workout A3, absolutely no change there, although I hope you make some changes, as in mixing it up for your easy hour of free-flowing alternate mode cross-training. And so it could be a hike or a walk or a bike ride. Might be a run or a jog if you really do a lot of that, but doesn't have to be, and probably shouldn't for most of us. Keep it non-stressful, keep it play-oriented, allow yourself to be refreshed, renewed, and invigorated for future workouts. There's an art form there for sure. Okay, now this is where things get zesty, if you don't mind my saying so. With workout B, we're going to keep the warm-up the same, doing the 10 reps on each side of those tubing exercises, working in triplanar and rotational manners. But now we're going to increase our workload, basically our volume and our intensity, by doing 4 sets of 10 reps. So we had been doing the 2 sets of 15, which totals out at 30 reps. 4 sets of 10 gets you 40 reps into the system. We do it kind of sneaky that way. How you'll do that is set 1 and 3 of the exercises will be left-sided, and sets 2 and 4 will be right-sided. Still doing the straight sets, and so you'll do all 4 sets of each exercise before moving on to the next one. And that would be the starting with the kettlebell squat with that rack position hold and going down through the list. Also, what we're going to add is a little bit of tempo training. And so tempo training is essentially when you divide the movement or the lift or the exercise into its 4 phases. And so if I'm just using, let's say, a bicep curl as an example, the first part of the curl would be phase 1 coming up. Phase 2 is whether or not I want to hold or pause at the top. Phase 3 is my lowering, and then phase 4 would be, is there a rest or break before initiating the next rep? So with all of our movements, we're going to try, or I'm going to suggest that you use a 31-31 tempo, or that's 3-1-3-1. So for example, with the unilateral kettlebell rack hold squat, the 3 would be lowering or descending in your squat for 3 seconds, pausing for 1 second at the bottom, coming up over a full count of 3, and then pausing for a second before completing the next rep. And you'll find that the tempo works differently with different exercises, but it's a great training stimulus, and it's also a great way to help you get familiar with this method. Now, if for any reason you'd like to take a deep dive into tempo and also more about muscle contractions, check out this week's podcast. On the Lifetime Athlete podcast. It's available on the website in the embedded player and on iTunes and all the other major podcast players. This is episode number 151, and PK and I talk about many of the nuances of muscle contractions, how to use tempo in training, and also kind of a fun test where you can decide what contraction pattern you might be dominant in as an athlete, which is determined by your genetics. Okay, so that's the changes or the upgrades that we're making to workout B. And as always, I want to suggest that you rest adequately between your sets. Right now, we're not trying to compress those rests and really work on perfect, or as close to perfect as possible, execution of each movement, each rep, each set. And that's never a bad thing to do. Also, I wanted to try to get this information out to you guys a bit early because, as I mentioned above, the masterclass this week will be on Sunday evening. That's going to be on Sunday, now I've got to get my dates correct, the 11th of October. And I'm doing that because for many people, Monday is Columbus Day, it's a holiday, and they're going to have some time off. And I wanted to just try to offer the masterclass up at some different times to give you the opportunity to attend. So that's it's going to be at 7 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And the final thing I wanted to say about this week's masterclass is it's going to be a conglomeration or a mix match of many of the things that we've been talking about. So I want to just take questions and answers, make sure that everyone is feeling good and doing great with their programming, and also just go over and see if anybody had questions about squat mechanics as we discussed them, all those things about muscle contraction, training intensity, assessing your athleticism and capacities. And so we'll be able to cover any of those things. I welcome you to bring your questions. You can even preempt me on the forum, the T2 forum, if you'd like, and I'll respond there as well as be prepared for a more detailed answer when we do this. So thank you so much. You really are awesome, and let's keep this thing going. See you next time.